Viking Group Incorporated is a world leader in manufacturing and supply for fire protection equipment and has been for over 100 years. Focusing on innovation and staying ahead of the always changing challenges in the fire protection industry, Viking Group remains technologically and mechanically at the top of the industry to protect property and lives. Visit vikinggroupinc.com for more information or to find a supplier near you.
Like and subscribe.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Fire Sprinkler Podcast. I'm here with Rob from Viking, and we just got done doing the VR tour of the dry valves. But before we get into that, Rob, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and who you are?
Okay, thanks for the introduction. I'm the digital product manager here at Viking, and I was originally part of the team that started the development of our VR project, Virtual Viking.
Okay.
And Virtual Viking started as a training tool to help make training a little more portable on our valves. As you may know, it's a little difficult to transport a fully trimmed valve from location to location, and you don't have a water supply.
You don't want to drag those valves around?
No, not really. I might be young, but like, yeah, that's a lot of hardware to carry around.
They made you do it once, and you were like, you know what? There's got to be a better way.
No, I
to
just
do
looked.
this. Yeah.
I looked once, and that was good enough for me.
Awesome.
But that was the goal initially, to take our valve room and put it in a box, essentially. It's much easier to take a computer and a headset to trade shows, to customers.
Right.
And it also let us leverage the strengths of VR. You can interact just as you would in real life with our products.
Right.
But you can also do things that aren't possible in real life. You can look through the valve, you can see the water moving through the trim.
Yep.
And when we get to topics like high-X foam, you can fill an aircraft hangar with foam without spending a ton of money or renting out an aircraft hangar.
That's
so you
frowned
still,
upon.
yes, yeah, generally.
Yeah.
So you can still get the idea of how it works, the the experience of watching the hangar fill, but you don't have to, travel a long ways or spend a bunch of money.
Talk a little bit about the development process, because this isn't, you guys have had it out for a couple years now, but how long did it take you guys to come up with the software that was legit enough to actually be using?
Well, we started back in 2018. It actually started as an intern project.
Okay.
So we were four kids fresh out of college, with an idea.
Right.
And at the time, we were in training. So the VP of training, Jim Lake, was like, this is a great idea. Let's kind of move forward with it. So we pitched the idea of developing Virtual Viking in Unreal Engine 4, starting with our well-known F2 dry valve.
Right.
It's a very interactive valve to reset because you have to take the cover plate off, and it would touch all the bases of our product line moving forward. So this would be a great place to start. Right? It was the most interactive one, so it was kind of difficult to develop for, and not really the greatest first step, but it allowed us to explore every aspect of the product that we would need moving forward.
Right.
So it took us initially 6 to 8 months to develop the processes, getting the models from CAD into VR, developing the textures so that they look realistic, and developing it to a level of quality that you could go into the valve room, see the valve, and then put the headset on and be like, this is the same valve.
Right.
The ball valves are in the same place. The main water control valve looks like the main water control valve. When I take the cover off the valve, the parts look like the parts.
They look and they interact as they would if you were in a valve room. Right.
So after 8 months of developing that one, we got the green light. We were brought on as full-time employees, and we continued to flush out the valve line. So we did the J1 alarm check valve.
No pun intended.
Yeah, flush out. But I love puns, by the way.
Yeah,
so if
awesome.
you get any more, lay them on me. But we did the J1 alarm check valve. We did the G6000 single interlock, and then we did the F1 deluge double interlock.
Okay.
And
those were all in that same 6 to 8 month?
No, those followed.
Okay, yeah.
So since we had the initial groundwork from the F2 dry valve, we can take those concepts that we learned and apply them to future valves.
Sure.
I don't have an exact timeline on how long those took. This started in 2018. It's been a minute,
yeah.
But then as we started to progress further and further down the line, we got to our new product releases.
Right.
So like when the VXD came out, we made a new experience for the VXD. When our High-X foam came out, we made our High-X foam experience. And we started to leverage VR a little more to the traditional space of 2D video as well. This is developed in Unreal Engine 4. So we have the abilities to set the camera in certain spots and render out animations that we can post on YouTube. And it makes it just that much more accessible.
Right.
You know, so while you can run it on the desktop and you can run it in VR, you know, that's not always the option. We want the information that you need to be accessible. So
quick and accessible.
Yeah, so adding it to YouTube as just a pre-rendered video seems like a good step.
Yeah. Yep. Starting out with essentially it's adding to the YouTube University kind of platform, right? And that's a good way of adding different things in there. I do a lot of stuff with the podcast on YouTube University, and I'm planning on doing more videos in the future for fire department training and stuff like that. So specifically, you can go into YouTube. What's your YouTube channel?
Viking Sprinkler.
Viking Sprinkler, and find any of the valves. Which valves do you guys have available right now through the VR? Everything?
I'm pretty sure we got one of every valve in there.
If you've missed one, it'll be the first valve that any of the listeners are looking for. But that's good. No, at least 99% of them, you would say, most of them are figured out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we got one of every valve in there.
Yeah, I was on it earlier, like I said earlier, and being able to go through and manipulate the valves and reset the valves and stuff like that is a completely unique experience. This is where I'll add the clip of me actually doing it, depending on how stupid I look with the VR, playing with the valves. I could hear smirking in the background when I was actually playing with it, but I don't know if that's just because I'm funny looking in general. But awesome. It's a really good product. Are you guys going to kind of come out with the valves as you guys expand your valve lineup as well? Like, is that going to be part of the marketing down the road? Is we've released this new valve. Here's how you reset it in VR. Here's how it works in VR.
Yeah, so as I said, we've kind of expanded it from just training to more of an overall, more of a core part of our product rollout.
Right.
You know, so now it's not only training, it's also teaching people about the product. It's also, you know, putting videos out on YouTube. It's also, you know, sharing this platform with salespeople and customers to get the word out that this is a new product. You know, this has this features and benefits that, you know, hopefully will help you.
Yeah.
And then as we look to the future, technology changes pretty quickly today.
Yep.
So whether, you know, the metaverse or something new comes into play, we want to make sure we have that core platform that we can expand on in any direction that we can.
Yeah, and I mean, if you guys are getting into the metaverse stuff, I'm not as familiar with what that is, but I mean, if you have a metaverse of this facility, it's a place I'd hang out all the time. This place is awesome.
Okay, good to know.
Awesome. Rob, thanks for coming on and explaining a little bit about this. And if anybody wants more information, where can they find it if somebody has a VR set at home before we end up?
You can find it on Steam. Okay. If you search Virtual Viking on Steam, it'll be the only thing that pops up. It's a free download. You can run it on your desktop, or if you have a VR headset, you can run it on your VR headset.
That's what me and the kids are doing tonight. Awesome. Thanks for coming on and talking about your virtual valve room.
Okay. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Hey everybody, this episode of the Fire Sprinkler Podcast is brought to you by the fundraiser that I'm putting on called Laying It Down for Camp Bucko. Camp Bucko is a camp here in Ontario, Canada that benefits victims of fires and burns and stuff like that. You can go to www.campbucko.com if you want to learn more about this charity organization, or you can go to firesprinklerpodcast.com if you want to find out how you can contribute to the event.
donate hoses or sponsor a hose for the world record attempt. We're going for 100 kilometers. The existing world record is 62 kilometers. No small feat. Thanks everybody for the support.